Hello, I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today, where we are going to talk about books. And today's book is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. And this is a mild horror with some supernatural elements. So on to the story. Maddie Washington has never fit in with her classmates or in her town. She was homeschooled until 7th grade when she transferred to the city school. But Maddie is different. She dresses differently than her peers. She watches different movies than her peers. Maddie's father has told her to stay out of the sun, never get her hair wet, and above all, to keep her secret a secret. And Maddie tries to do as her father says, to the point of even skipping school when it rains. If she doesn't follow her father's rules, she has to deal with his anger, and there are no allowances for whatever her intentions were. Despite Maddie's best efforts, after an unpredicted change in the weather, her secret is revealed. Maddie is biracial. Her classmates are not sympathetic. But Maddie is not the only one pretending. Plenty of her classmates are pretending too. Pretending they are happy in the lives their parents have chosen for them. Pretending that they approve of how their classmates treat others. And pretending that they are happy in their relationships. The bullying Maddie experiences intensifies. And when a video of her being bullied goes viral, members of the community are tired of looking like some hick town that is stuck in the past. So a group of students decides that they should hold their first ever integrated prom. But not everyone is convinced that this is a good idea. And some of these students have a surprise in store for Maddie. Unknown to everyone, however, Maddie has discovered that she has some pretty intense powers, and she's getting pretty good at using them. If Maddie is pushed too far, the whole town may be the ones to pay. This was an intense book that has some definite trigger warnings, including sexism, racism, and bullying, among others. If you plan to read it, check out the trigger warnings. It is, though, a valuable and eye-opening book. What are some books to read for a similar experience? And most of the books I'm going to suggest today deal with characters who just don't fit in their community or with their peers and are bullied because of it. My suggestions include books at various reading levels. First up is Some Kind of Animal by Romasco-Moore, and it is YA. Jo lives in the same small town where her mother, Jolene, grew up and disappeared from 15 years ago. When Jolene became pregnant, her mother told her to leave the family home. Jolene was a bit of a free spirit and different from everyone else in town. With nowhere to go, she moved in with Logan, the man that everyone assumed is Jo's father. Jo herself is viewed as an oddity. She sneaks out at night and runs through the forest that surrounds their community with, she says, her sister. But as everyone knows, Jo does not have a sister, because everyone knows the story of Jo's birth. When Jo's friend Henry is injured, everyone assumes that Jo is responsible. Throughout the book, Jo must make difficult choices and deal with the consequences of those choices. This book examines how labels that are applied to people affect their choices and their lives. Starfish by Lisa Fipps. It's a middle reader fiction. Ever since the 5th grade, Ellie has been bullied about her weight. Her mom doesn't really help either. She thinks criticizing Ellie will make her want to lose weight. So Ellie adopts some rules, including don't make waves, avoid eating in public. When a neighbor moves in, she doesn't judge Ellie. In fact, this neighbor, Catalina accepts Ellie just as she is. With the help of her therapist, Catalina, and her father, Ellie finds it a lot easier to be her fabulous self. Our next book is adult fiction, and if you've read The Weight of Blood, this book will make complete sense. As I was reading The Weight of Blood, I often thought of this book. It is a horror. So, if you are not an adult, or if you are an adult who really can't read the horror genre, or books with cruelty, I'd suggest you skip this one. But I did have to mention it, and it is Carrie by Stephen King. Carrie White is a 16-year-old who is different than her classmates. She dresses in a frumpy style. Carrie has unusual religious beliefs that she has learned from her overbearing and abusive mother. And Carrie, like Maddie, is taunted by her classmates because of her differences. Carrie has telekinetic powers, and when an act of kindness goes awry, she uses those powers to get revenge. In the acknowledgments to The Weight of Blood, Tiffany D. Jackson mentions her love of Stephen King's works, and she cites her book as an homage to him. And I'll be honest here. Now that I've read The Weight of Blood, I think I am going to add Carrie to my reads for 2023. It's been too long without reading that book. And there we are. I hope that you have enjoyed this Weight of Blood book talk, and I hope that you will give it a read and consider some of the other books that I mentioned. I think it's easy to assume that issues that were attempted to be dealt with in the past were actually dealt with. When we make these assumptions, we just don't realize that many people are still dealing with issues that we thought were solved ages ago. And while this book is a work of fiction, I hope that we all realize that there is so much truth in fiction. I will be back with an Explore and Create, and of course, we'll also talk about more books. Our next book is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, and we'll talk about this book next week. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.